trying to do for the adults that I speak with. When I go out on the speaking engagements, I try to talk to college students that are in the psychology courses. I've been to a couple different community colleges here in the area to encourage them to look at male survivors as a possible specialty. Specialize in services for the male survivors, because there are 3 men here in St. Louis that do provide services strictly for male survivors. They can't take on another person. They're so booked, they can't take on another client. We need more services out there. When I walked into a rape crisis center here in St. Louis 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago, I was a man walking into a world that I was treated like the enemy. It's getting better. Service centers like that are now starting to understand that there are male survivors out there and that they need help also. But I literally felt like I should just melt away, or could melt away with the stares that I got from the people in the Great Crisis Center. Because the services aren't offered for male survivors. But we're getting there. We're starting to break the silence. We're shattering the silence with this documentary. We're shattering the silence by going out and talking and speaking up. And I won't stop. I was in Denny's last night at 2 o'clock in the morning having a conversation. And I mentioned Sean Hornbeck. I mentioned his name. And the person I was talking to, a total stranger, somebody that I'd never seen before, sitting in the booth next to me, started asking me questions. He didn't believe me, I got on my soapbox. And while I was there in a Denny's, this man disclosed to me that he was sexually molested by a man who his father allowed to move into the house after the mother left. His mother left. His father brought in a buddy. And for the first time in his life, he told me, he sat there in the Denny's and said, "This is the first time I'm telling anybody about this." But the guy gave me $5 when I was 8 years old to let him touch me. And I said to him, I said, here's everything I can give you. Here's all the help I can offer. Then he goes on to tell me why he's sitting at Denny's at 2 in the morning. He's homeless. He was nursing a cup of coffee, and according to the waitress, after I talked to her a couple minutes, he'd been there for almost 3 hours. And it just brought back the fact that I lived on Venice Beach for 7 months as a homeless person, involved in drugs. I got into a homeless mission out in California. It was just so strangely deja vu. I was seeing in him what I had gone through. And he's got my number, and again, that's one thing that I do. I hand out my business card, my number to many, many people. I never approach or push, because each person's got to take it at their own pace. He's broken the silence last night. Hopefully he'll call me back and I can continue to help him. Kids at the concert tours that I've been to have broken the silence with us. And we hope they continue to get the help they need. We have a website available called justtell.org. That is JUSTTELL.org. And it's got a lot of great information for teenagers to get that support, to build that encouragement, to empower the kids to tell their stories. It's an epidemic out there. It's a frightening epidemic that most of the media and most adults in this world bury their head about. There are over 38 million adult survivors right now living in the United States today. Those are based on numbers and estimates. But with 38 million people out there that are suffering from these problems, wouldn't you think we'd be able to make an army that would just knock the world over and knock out all the predators and face and battle this problem? But unfortunately, so many of them are remaining silent. And and that's what we're here for. Frightening part, one of the frightening things that the statistics prove to us is that once a child is abused by one person, they become very, very vulnerable to additional abuse. I hate to say it, but it's almost as if they got a neon sign across the forehead. And that may not even be with predators. Keep telling other predators about the children. It becomes a self-esteem situation. Studies have also shown that a predator can walk into a room with 30 kids and within the first 5 minutes pick out the potential victim. That's right. We as adults, we as parents, we as concerned citizens need to stop the abuse by not allowing these men to have access to our kids. Perpetrators will put themselves in the position to have access to kids. As I mentioned, 119 victims before the first time they're convicted. Yet the Boy Scouts of America to this day say that they're solving their problem within their ranks by running a background check on people. Sorry, doesn't work for me. If they're only on number 79, they've still got 40 more people to go before they get caught for the first time. So that background check doesn't do it for me. There are programs out there. There's one that's called the Diana Screen. It's a pre-screening program. I think that every organization needs to adopt that program. It's available through, if you Google Diana Screen, you can find it very easily. It's available through an organization down in Florida. The Boys Club of America in Boston is currently using the program. And it's currently showing a 93% success rate as to pre-screening. And then once it's flagged the person, and the organization does some further background check, they start to find out that, okay, maybe this guy did have some problems with other organizations on their group. They're not going to walk in and they're not going to say, well, I was kicked out of scouting over in Missouri, so I want to be a scout leader over here in Illinois. They're not going to do that. The black files of the Boy Scouts of America prove the fact that they will move from place to place. They'll quit jobs so that they can continue to have access to the boys. We, as concerned adults, need to take the steps to learn what to watch for, the signs of grooming. As Patricia mentioned, the subtle signs that a child will give you. Mom, I want to drop out of Scout. Just ask why. And it could probably save many, many children. Watch for those subtle signs, and if you think it's going on, report it. I don't know a police officer in this world that would rather let a child be harmed than to investigate a situation that turned out not to be true. So if you suspect something, report it. Learn what you as an adult can do to help protect our children. And that's the important point of the Shattering Silence story. And in coming forward and speaking our truth, telling our stories, to get the message across to anybody and everybody that it's all of our responsibilities to raise our children. Do you realize that in the United States there are more animal shelters for abused and harmed animals than there are shelters for abused and harmed children? That's frightening. So we as concerned adults need to get off our butts and get out there and learn what we need to learn to protect our children. Please, if the one thing I can say, the last thing I'll leave you with is, don't hesitate to ask why. You may save a child.